Corey, next question would be on homelessness. What strategies do you have in mind in terms of addressing the number of homeless citizens that we have in Carlsbad?
Excellent question. I know we've all felt the 143% increase between 2016 and 2017. Any of those folks who've been through the village can see it, like I can. I live in the village. The issues that the folks have that are currently homeless are myriad. Mental health, drug addiction, there's a lot of affordable housing issues. When they did the study in 2016, 2017, one of the things they found was 55% of the newly homeless were economically homeless. That means an affordable living issue. Affordable living in Carlsbad is one of the main reasons that we can't find or retain our staff. And speaking with our staff, that's what they say too. So in order for us to tackle this issue, we need to strengthen our homeless response plan. I actually love the fact that we have a homeless outreach team. They're doing tremendous work. And then the homeless response plan that the council unanimously approved, that is something that I would continue to support. But we do need that housing first model, and we do need to work collaboratively throughout the region in order to ensure that we actually have transitional housing to pull the people off the street.
Matt, if you could comment on the homeless.
Yes, I think our homeless outreach team is one of the most aggressive in the county. We actually go out, find the homeless people, offer them service, and do whatever it takes. And we do this on a daily basis. Our city workers, along with the county health, have formed a team to do this. And we're out there making a difference. I want to go back on the last question, though, however, when she says the council doesn't have any say on how this budget works. From 2008 to 2010, we never closed a door on a park, we never closed a door on a library, we never cut back 1 hour of service. We were the only city in the county that did that. And we managed our way through that. So when you say a council doesn't have the ability to make those changes, it could have been real easy to keep hiring new people and keeping the monies moving. But it was leadership, it was council leadership that made really tough decisions to get us where we're at today. So it's a misnomer to say that we don't have input on that.
So Matt, we'll keep you up there and we'll ask you a question that has an assumption in it. Where do you think additional taxes should be directed? That's assuming that you would add taxes. Where would you direct them?
I would never add taxes.
The audience was doing very well. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are one of the most financially strong cities in the county, if not the state. That did not just happen. That has been a lot of us doing a lot of heavy lifting to make this happen. And I'm not going to stand here and take personal credit for all that. It's all of us. It's all of us working together to make a difference. And, oh geez, taxes. Corey, you answer this.
I would never add additional taxes either.
Remember, clap in your hearts.
However, I do think it's interesting to talk about a couple of different things with relation to how we've been able to stay stable over time. So between 2008 and 2010, we cut 60 positions in the city of Carlsbad. So how do you stay fiscally sound moving forward without balancing the budget on the backs of your staff every time you hit a recession or every time you hit a bump in the road? You need to bring more revenue in. You don't bring more revenue in by increasing taxes. You bring more revenue in by bringing in a new business opportunity. A fourth source of revenue to supplement property taxes, sales taxes, and hotel taxes. And that would be energy democracy. That would be putting the power of energy choice in your hands, maintaining energy costs over time, and saving you while keeping you in control of where your energy comes from. Over time, there's a system like this in South Australia. It brings in $800,000 every 2 days. Let me repeat that. That is every 2 days bringing in approximately what Caruso's mall would have brought in 1 year.
Corey, if you still got your mic, we'll ask you what is your stance on sanctuary cities?
Sure. Sanctuary cities is a misnomer. So I've heard a lot of people talking about sanctuary cities. I think what they mean is the sanctuary laws. Would that be an accurate statement? The sanctuary laws that the state has put up in Sacramento? because there's no ability for a municipality to actually be a sanctuary city. We just don't have the authority or the power. So when the sanctuary state laws were brought to the city of Carlsbad to decide upon, one of the things that I did very clearly was make a motion to say we need to stay out of this. The deadline had already passed to join the federal lawsuit, to join the amicus brief, and actually the very first rulings from the Republican Supreme Court Judge Mendez, who was appointed by George W. Bush, was that this was a states' rights issue, and the federal government was actually infringing on states' rights, and he threw the federal lawsuit out.
Matt?
This is a very challenging question, and I want to start this way. I've been in business for many, many years. I've actually hired people that were illegal. And once I realized that they were illegal, I went and did everything humanly possible first to get them a green card, then to get them legal status, then to help them buy homes and become citizens just like you and I in this city. But this is really more about public safety. And anytime you put a cloud over your public safety and you don't let all those public safety agencies work as if they were one, you're compromising your safety. It is that simple. So my belief is that that was a bad law and that I do not support sanctuary cities.
Okay. Matt, if you could answer the question, do you support consolidation of the San Diego Airport Authority?
This is another very good question. There was two of them, AB 805 and the combining of the airport authority and the port. We voted on the council 4-1 not to do that. And the reason being is we have a voice. Mike Schumacher, or Councilman Schumacher's in the back of the room. He's our representative on the airport authority. The combining of those two agencies would take away our vote. It would take away our representation. So when it comes to doing the airport influence area around the airports, we wouldn't have a voice at the table. It was that simple. That's why we didn't support it.
Corey?
So this is a really interesting kind of series of questions, as the mayor said about AB 805 as well. The bill that was brought forward at my recommendation in order for us to very specifically work with the author of the bill in order for Carlsbad to be better positioned in order to control what's going on at the Palomar Airport. Rather than pursuing a line at the time for working proactively with the legislator in order for us to have more control through the airport authority, the council chose to instead vote on this particular bill. Interestingly enough, fast forward to just a couple weeks ago at a council meeting, I brought up the same recommendation because the author had pulled her bill. The recommendation was, let's work proactively with this legislator in order for us to have control and to have a voice in how an airport authority is going to be moving forward. I got unanimous support for that.
Corey, this question is addressed to you by the question maker, and we'll ask Matt to answer it as well. You supported adding 7,000 new housing units in Carlsbad. Where do you envision placing those additional housing units?
So I would really love to see where somebody pulled that. I am aware that this narrative is being circulated and that it's related to AB 805, which is the reorganization of SANDAG. So the narrative that's being forwarded is that because I supported AB 805, which brings an audit committee, which reorganizes an organization that defrauded you with your taxes, and we had to fire the CEO of that organization, he left in shame. The AB 805 bill that is being spoken about, the RENA allocation went through, and so the narrative that you're being told is because I supported this bill, the unique voting structure had to be applied during the RENA allocation. And in the back, at my table, you can actually see where the tally vote was taken and not the weighted vote. So that means that this narrative that I supported 7,000 additional units is a complete fabrication. Again, you can go to the back table, you can see the actual vote. There was not a weighted vote that was applied, and this was clarified by the Chief Deputy Executive Director of SANDAG at the last meeting.
Matt?
Sure. AB 805 was led by Lorena Gonzalez, and it changed the voting structure of how we as SANDAG vote. And that's your tax, that's your road monies, your transit monies, and your RENA allocation. Before the tally and the weighted vote carried the same weight. You had to pass them both. Under the new legislation, the weighted vote calls it at the end of the day. As a council, we voted 4-1 not to support that legislation. The first time I can remember in 30 years that we broke ranks and actually had a council member go down to Sandag and speak against the majority of the council. She is correct in the fact about the RENA numbers. We were assigned 171,000 units. A committee negotiated that to 116,000 units, and it passed on a tally vote. 2 weeks later, the president of the San Diego City Council called for a revote, a weighted vote, and you can listen to her call for that vote. And it passed on the tally, because you take a tally before the weighted.